you are an island situated half an hour south of Cuba in the middle of the ocean with no real, there's no existing market. There's no gold market. Like no one's ever done this before.
There's no dealers on the island.
None of that. None of it exists. So thank God, going into it with this kind of naive entrepreneurial spirit where you're like, we will just figure it out. And that's exactly what we did. It was like all those challenges that you named, including the liquidity piece, that became the homework. That was the takeaway. That's like, okay, we found one wholesaler who's willing to provide capital, or we found one wholesaler who's going to, at the time we were lucky, in the industry, we had the OPMs of the world. Mm-hmm. We had Elemental, we had RMC in Miami. These were private mints that were trying to really aggressively grow their business. They were also willing to park inventory down in Cayman at the time, and we turned over that inventory, and so they'd send more down, and it allowed our clients to buy and eventually sell back to us if they wanted to. But that was a critical piece. I think a lot of
that aggression helped you. It helped a lot of other businesses in the U.S., but it ultimately led to the downfall of those companies in one form or another. Yeah. Because in our industry, it's about being conservative as well. Like the margin of error is very small.
It is. It is. It's a miracle that you and I have made it this far.
We have the scars to prove it.
Yeah, we sure do. But that was a big challenge. The insurance piece is a big one. But that's just, they send their inspector, they send their risk management guys down. And when they saw the facility that we had built, because of the construction and security background, that was actually an easier hurdle for us to clear than the liquidity and the credibility. That's the credibility. Ultimately, that's what you're going to market with, is you have to build this story around your brand, around your offering. Thankfully, the USP of the Cayman Islands is an extremely unique USP. First of all, everybody's like, what is the Cayman Islands? Is it what Tom Cruise refers to in the movie, or even any show? Like, it comes up all the time. My wife and I are watching Netflix, and we're like, oh, they're talking about money laundering. Like, here it comes. Here it comes to Cayman. And it's either like Cayman or Channel Islands. But most of the time it's Cayman. So that's a double-edged sword in my mind. That served us well from the perspective of people are curious, and those who are in the know it's actually a great jurisdiction to move your wealth to. And then you have those who will never bother to really look into it, and they're just like, oh yeah, that's like sketchy or whatever. But it did help with the marketing of the business. Yeah.
So when I went down to Cayman and visited your facility, I was very impressed with the security. That it was clear that there was a security company behind the whole operation. But that facility is not the same facility that you're in today. So talk about that. What inspired the transition from facility A to facility B?
Two things. Number one, COVID happened. So we were, we're chugging along, we grew the business, 100 million assets under management, 300 million, like all the
milestones.
All those milestones, right? We used to have this whiteboard, actually. Funny enough, it was on a whiteboard. We would like, oh, we're here now.
So you upgraded from the napkin and you went straight to the whiteboard.
Yeah, exactly. We're a very technology savvy company. So anyways, we're chugging along, and then COVID comes. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about this in the Uber on the way over here, and it's like life changed for precious metal dealers. Like, I would wake up in the morning and be on the phone from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. every day for months. And I ended up hiring my brother, my wife, my sister-in-law. Like, it was like emergency war room. Like, my basement became an office, and we expanded very quickly. Now, we already had other staff. This was just like all hands on deck, because the phone is ringing, the emails are coming, everybody wants metal. So it was great for the business. So that happened. And then we were actually leasing the space, and the original space was leased. And our landlord thought he was a pretty smart guy. So he's like, I'm going to give these guys short notice to get out of the building, and I'm going to keep the vault. That was his plan. He's an evil guy. He's like, I'm going to get these guys out, and I'm going to keep the vault, because I'll never be able to get the vault out before they leave. But he forgot that we had a partner who's a construction guy. So we buy a piece of land in Cayman. We built this beautiful purpose-built vault building. We ripped the old vault out of the first location. Now we're really well positioned for another 10, 15 years of growth. But those were the two things, COVID and a bad landlord.